regrette rien, ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien, non, je ne regrette rien, c'est payé. J'ai allumé le feu, mes chagrins, mes plaisirs. Je n'ai plus besoin de balayer les amours avec leur trémolo, balayer pour toujours. Je repars à zéro. Non. Regrette rien, ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien, non, je ne regrette rien, car ma vie, car mes jours, ça commence avec toi. regrette rien, ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien, non, je ne regrette rien, c'est payé. J'ai allumé le feu, mes chagrins, mes plaisirs. Je n'ai plus besoin de balayer les amours avec leur trémolo, balayer pour toujours. Je repars à zéro. Non, rien de rien. Je ne regrette rien, ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien, non, je ne regrette rien, car ma vie, car mes jours, ça commence avec toi.
I'm turning the audio on, and I'm turning the intro off, and I'm turning the
capture on. Okay, let me get this thing smalled up. Let me just do this. Fit to transform. Fit to screen. There we go. Stretch it down just a little bit. They don't need to see my command bars. And I will get rid of the live stream begins. We're running about a 20-second delay. Hello, Glue Troopers, Max and Max's models here. We're kicking off a minute early. It'll just be me and Steve tonight. Ken prioritized his family over the live stream, so he's off to a birthday party for his daughter. So we're what you got, the Misfit Crew. Before we get rolling here, let's just continue what we're talking. Steve and I were talking about the Buena Park show in March in Buena Park, California, which I, at the moment, am planning to attend. I've actually already arranged for a table with Mike Nishat, the world-famous aviation artiste, and a personal friend of mine. And I hope to see Tommy and Eric and a whole bunch of other people out there. Guys, if you happen to make that show, and you, by all means, please come up and say hi. I am really looking forward to meeting Glue Troopers, just anybody in the model business. So what were you saying? They're paying you, that you have family members that are bribing you to hang out with them? Or you were bribing them?
No, to hang out with you.
I'm not above paying people to hang out with me. You know the old joke when I was a kid I was so ugly they had to tie a pork chop around my neck to get the dog to play with me.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, speaking of which, I saw a documentary on the making of Lassie, and Russ Weatherwax, who was Lassie's handler, the way he got the dog to keep licking Timmy was to put gravy on his cheek. And I was like, talk about false love. And I was thinking, no, that's real love, because I love gravy too. Okay, that sounded better in my head, but anyway. So what's the story? You gonna make it? You think you? Come on, make it.
I don't know. I got to see how it works.
You're a weenie. If everybody tells Steve he's a weenie if he doesn't make Buena Park.
We'll see.
I ought to drag Trey and Fran out there too, and Bruce, just make them go. But I mean, we would have so much fun out there. But it's only 5 hours. It goes from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
That's the problem.
Well, that may be done to prevent us from spending too much money, which personally I take as a challenge. By the way, guys,
that's true.
My wife has told me the internet down here is a little slow, so if things get slowing up, I'll kill the picture, because it's not like you don't know what Steve and I look like.
Yeah, that'll spare you some horror.
Yeah, we'll go to guns. Anyway, so should I begin or end with what my wife said about tonight's agenda, tonight's topic?
Go ahead.
Okay. So, in fact, you know what, Steve? I think I'll turn the picture off and start putting the other stuff on.
Okay, that works.
I came up with the ludicrous idea, because this is how my mind works, that maybe using movie actress and movie tie-ins with models could be or could have been used to sell them. Now, I mean, we all know there are certain movie tie-ins like the Baba Black Sheep, Corsairs and stuff. I mean, and all the Star Wars models. But I'm talking about using the glamour of Hollywood actresses to try and push the styrene. Now, as we get going, by the way, if you're wondering, that's Vivian Lee. And now, some of these slides, I mean, all the slides I created, some of them, like this one, are just something I threw together in a hurry. Some of them that I had the time for, I actually manipulated box art to include them. So, but my wife took a look at what we're doing and said, and she made a really interesting observation. She said that most likely, back in the 60s, 70s, and even the 80s, this would not have helped to sell any models. But today, given that a lot of us buy and collect as much out of nostalgia as anything else, and we're all mature enough to appreciate, kind of the golden age of Hollywood or the glamour that goes with it, today something like this...
That's a big assumption on your part.
Yes, it is. And gosh, when I make an ass out of you and me, I do it large. But the idea being that perhaps today some sort of tie-in might actually, add a little romance to the models and help sell them. So I decided to keep British actresses with British aircraft. And I thought Vivian Lee, who did, for a British woman, she did an amazingly good Southern accent in Gone with the Wind. I put her with the Spitfire. Of course, you would use a color image. I mean, guys, I'm putting this together what I could download off the internet.
So you should have put her with the old Hawk streetcar from San Francisco kit.
Well, the thing you got to remember, though, is that, I mean, they use attractive girls to sell cars, cigarettes, bubble gum. Yeah. Why not model airplanes? I mean, let's just be honest, boys are, boys, and all that implies. So Max's premise is that putting an attractive woman on the box of a model will help them with a phrase that is called marketing strategy, and it's not safe for work.
Yeah.
My next one, and okay, don't say anything, Steve. Before we get, this one's well, I kind of clustered these together, these British ones that I made myself. Who recognizes the actress? And don't you say, Steve, because I know you'll recognize her.
I won't say it.
Okay, but she's way more famous now than she was when she looked like that, and I did not realize in her youth that she was such a stunning beauty. NSF is only for those pics. These aren't, trust me, there's no naughty pictures. Well, not by 2025 standards. I guess back in 1965 that might have been considered, or 45 that might have been considered a little naughty. Part of the problem is the delay here. It takes a while for everybody to, about 20 seconds for what I'm saying to get out there, then for them to reply, and then figure out what I'm asking and pop it up on. Okay, now that is Helen Mirren. And,
she did a movie with James Mason.
Oh, yeah. Edward Bender got it.
No.
No, Paul, I didn't even think about Joan Collins, and I can think of a few models she would have gone good with too.
Yeah. Helen Mirren did a movie with James Mason when she was about 18 years old, and she was quite the looker.
Oh, she's a beauty, absolutely. I got her with the Bach Lightning because I figured she's fast and British. So now a lot of you guys will guess this one as soon as you see the airplane, even if you don't know the actress, if you know anything about old Hollywood. Steve, does that look familiar? Oh, I forgot. I got to remember the lag. I see it instantly, but what happened, girl? 6 decades is what happened. The hard part about doing this was I wanted to try more or less and put the actress with the period where she was sort of at her peak, and fast and British, but she doesn't hold a lot of gas. Yeah. Well, it was a point defense interceptor, and I'm talking about the jet, by the way. I am away from the microphone. I'm sorry. Let me move up a little closer. That's very good. Eric got it. Olivia de Havilland.
Got it.
And she was, if I'm not mistaken, actually a cousin of Geoffrey de Havilland, who designed all the aircraft. So I thought that was the perfect. I could see putting Olivia de Havilland on the box art of a new Mosquito kit. And yep, Olivia, they're all okay. One of my now Olivia de Havilland was, from my understanding, quite the class act. But here's another one of my favorite British actors.
Well, you know who her sister was, don't you?
Oh God, I know, and I forgot.
Joan Fontaine.
Joan Fontaine. I knew she had a famous sister who did not use the family name. Now the next one is one reason I fell in love with this woman, because she's in one of my favorite movies aside from being beautiful. And I thought the Lancaster would be perfect because, these are two things I think of when you say British, are this airplane and this actress. And I'll give it a little time. Again, I'll give it some time to populate because I know you're running on a lag here. But yeah, it wouldn't work. But it would work with the 747 from Marvel. Daughter to. Hey, well, Dad, no worries. We're just getting okay. Do you recognize this beautiful young British lady who was as English gets?
No.
That is Glynis Johns. You might remember her from Mr. Banks from Disney.
I remember her.
But she was in one of my favorite movies, which is No Highway or No Highway in the Sky.
Sky.
She played the flight attendant that took care of Jimmy Stewart, and that was where
It was
I
a
fell
great
in love with
movie.
her. It was. Glynis Johns, very good to church, and I just fell in love with her. She, and I just thought she was incredibly elegant.
She had a TV show in the 60s.
Did she?
Glynis was called. It lasted a season, but she had a TV show.
My understanding is it was a British show, right?
No, it was American.
Oh, okay. All right. Now this next one, this is supposed to, well, again, I got these. These are ones I made myself that are clustered together. So everybody's going to recognize this right away. And by the way, she's over 60 now. I didn't realize that. Excuse me. Nope, never heard of her. Well, a lot of this is generational. For the most part, we're starting off with the older actresses. It's going to get, as we move through time, we're going to be getting to the, we're kind of in the, with this exception, we're kind of in the World War II stuff. But these ones I kind of threw together in a hurry. I meant to put this one with the modern stuff, not with here. But I was Glamorous Glynis. There, hey, that's give away.
There you go.
Yes, she died just recently at 100. Glynis Johns lived to 100 and just recently passed away. But I imagine you recognize this actress from Austin Powers. Steve.
Oh, me?
Yeah,
Oh,
you recognize? Yeah. Okay, all right, Elizabeth Hurley. The answers are rolling in. I think she would be the perfect woman to do the 1990s era jets and everything, and for that matter, she'd be a real good person to put on if you were going to sell a Jaguar with a British flag on it. XKE. Okay, we're getting back to World War II here, and I don't expect anyone in this crowd to recognize this actress. If you do, bonus points. But of course, we need to colorize a photo or make the artwork of the airplane black and white. But and I don't have any particular reason for saying that this person with this plane. It's more of just the era kind of thing. Steve, do you any chance?
Is that oh God, from On the Beach?
You were talking about her recently, I think.
Yeah, I can't.
And I think that is her.
Yeah.
Nope, not Rita Hayworth.
No.
Although I can see why you would think that. Okay.
God, I can't draw a blank here. I know who it is, but I just can't get the name. It's Ava Gardner.
Ava Gardner, very good. Yes, I did read about Brigitte Bardot passing away recently, and I will add that no, it's not Elvira. Oh no, it's not Tracy Lord. Get your mind out of the gutter.
No, it's
there
not
are
Tracy
no
Lord.
porn stars here. You lost my train of thought. I derailed a train that exists only in my mind. Yes, and Brigitte Bardot will appear in here later. God, I'm on my second cough medicine. Okay. Well, now this one was recommended by a glue trooper. I would not have put these two together, but a glue trooper said you need to put this actress with this airplane, so I did. And I don't know, maybe it will work. I'm not exactly sure what the affiliation is. And by the way, before you ask, yeah, Marlene Dietrich was with a P-51 Mustang, but I didn't get it in this group. I did not put her with anything German because she had completely renounced those guys. No, it was Ava Gardner. And Tracy Lord might be a flying bedstead. Oh, God. I ain't not going there. Greta, very good, Brian. That is Greta Garbo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed. I thought that might be a little obscure for, you know, for this crowd, but okay, very good, guys. Some Glue Trooper said she needed to go with the ME262, and so I said, okay. Isn't Garbo the one that turned her back on Hollywood?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good on her. Now this next one, I'm going to show, and at first I thought maybe this is in bad taste, but that didn't let that stop me. But we'll see if any of the Glue Troopers understand what my concern, if they recognize the actress and understand the significance. Because this is the least random of them all. And I actually did have some small concern about maybe it was in poor taste. But I don't think so. I think it's an acknowledgement.
Now, somebody already got it.
Carol Lombard.
Yep.
And for those who do not know, Carol Lombard was actually killed in the crash of a TWA DC-3.
On a war bond.
On a war bond, which is what made, no, not Jean Harlow, but she does have that look. And, well, Dale, if they didn't know how hot Bardot was in the 60s, they're going to get an education later on. Yeah, I was going to say, that is what got Gable to enlist. Because, you know, I don't know much about Clark Gable outside of what you read, like the rest of us. But my understanding is that he really, really did love Carol Lombard. I mean, it was a real love affair. And when she was killed, he was just wrecked. And he ran off and joined the military. And I'm not sure he didn't hope to get himself killed. He figured, if my wife can die for the cause, then so can I. And for better or worse, I will always have a lot of respect for Gable because of that.
Here's an interesting question from a trooper. What plane would Hillary Clinton represent? I bet a Zero crashing into a ship on a kamikaze mission.
Actually, if Hillary Clinton, if I was going to put her on the box art of an airplane, I would probably
L-1011?
Look for the most, you know what? I know what it would be. The Christmas bullet. And you know what? Instead of me explaining it, I am going to wait for a Glue Trooper to explain that comment. Because out there are a bunch of aircraft aficionados, and one of them knows what I'm talking about. But simply put, the Christmas bullet killed everyone who ever flew it.
Well, Ann Travell's close. He says, yeah, she's got it. The Christmas biplane.
It killed all its pilots.
Yep.
Point to Lance. Excellent.
Somebody
Now,
put Phoenix from Flight of the Phoenix.
No, if I was going to put Phoenix from Flight of the Phoenix, I'd use Donald Trump. You guys can chew on that one.
What aircraft would be with Rachel Ziegler? She's the one who was
I have the aircraft. The French Mercure airliner. It was looks like a little 737. It was started off as a great little airplane, but it didn't have any range. So after 10 of them were built, it was taken completely out of service. It was a complete failure. But it shot itself in the foot by not having any range. It was a flawed design philosophy.
Oh, B-36 with June Allison.
I mean, come on, can you get any more Cold War wife than June Allison? I mean, she was the McConnell story, Strategic Air Command. I mean, the girl was almost a poster child for the military wife in the height of the Cold War. By the way, I believe this was Eric's suggestion, and it's perfect. Okay. This may be, of all of them I put together, this may be the most perfect.
Okay, so I have one to suggest that you probably haven't done. Would be Jan in the Pan with the X1.
No, the X2. The X2.
The X2.
Yeah. Oh my God.
No, well, okay. Yeah, all right. I'll give you X2.
Jan in the Pan. Can you imagine that poor woman all those years trying to struggle to get a career in Hollywood? At one point, you're acting opposite William Holden. And a few years later, you're filming a movie in someone's basement and get the lifelong moniker Jan in a Pan. Life is cruel.
Virginia Lee.
Yeah. That's just, was it Lee or Leith?
Leith.
Yeah.
PH.
And you're not going to believe this, but it was only recent that I actually saw Toward the Unknown. Can you believe I had never seen that movie until maybe a couple of years ago?
Oh, that.
It is a great movie. God, everybody
That's
told
a
me
great
that.
movie.
I finally got around to say, well, like Mike Machat said, all those models in the general's office were actually belonged to forgot who, but he was one of the test pilots, and he provided them for him. And I was like, that had such an authentic feel to it. The only thing I hate about that movie is it killed James Garner. I don't like movies that kill James Garner. But anyway, now
No, not that Janet Leigh. No.
Now, one of the things that we're going to start, that a few of them in here are, this one's not exactly where I meant for it to be actually, but it's here, so here we go. A lot of the airliners that I picked that we will see for box art have the famous actresses of the 50s and 60s that were glamour actresses. And I think Sophia Loren was one of the most glamorous actresses. Like she's up there with Liz Taylor and Audrey Hepburn. Being Italian, I thought it was only appropriate that she be on an Alitalia airline cover. But
makes sense.
I think that if you were to use her image to sell model, it would just go good with and I tried to keep these things sort of aligned, like Airfix with British actresses on British aircraft and that sort of thing, sort of something people could identify with. Now this is an Otaki kit because the things you learn by accident, I wanted to have her on a box for an Italeri kit, right? I figured she's an Italian actress, we'll find a kit from Italeri. But being that she was to represent glamour, I thought, let's put her on an airline. Italeri doesn't make any airliners except for a Fokker 27. I wasn't going to put Sophia Loren on a box art with a freaking turboprop. So I had to go outside, and Otaki was the only ones I found that made the Alitalia 747. But I think she, adds glamour, and then back from the golden era of jet airlines. Oh, hey, Trey, Fran, when is JaxCon? I've already forgotten. I need to make sure I go because I don't know. I just like to go. Okay, that one needs to go. Hold on, I'm going to move something down here. You guys cannot see what I'm doing, but I had a picture way where it does not belong. This Sophia Loren picture isn't where it's supposed to be, but that's okay. Okay. Oops. All right. So Sophia could also work on the box of an Alitalia Spontalantia Stratus. It could, yes. JaxCon's not coming up already, is it? Oh, okay. Well, we're looking at this. Let me check JaxCon real quick. God, I lose track of stuff. I've gotten to the point where I'm actually using that Jaxon. That's some kind of jewelry. There it is, JaxCon. Oh, it's February. It's only a few weeks away. February 7th. 8th, 7th, and 8th. Okay. Well, I'll probably go on the 8th. Once more, it'll be a 2-day show. Okay, guys. Bruce, get up here for JaxCon.
February 6th and 7th.
All right. I got to put that in my... Hold on. I got to make a note of that.
Coming soon.
JaxCon 27-8. All right. Get that right here in front of my computer. All right. Enough of the administrative crap. Now, on with the show. Well, now, this one I think was recommended by Garfield, and I think it is the funniest one of the whole group, and not only that, it's bloody perfect. So I put together this special box art from Special Hobby, and I think that this is a perfect mating. I'm waiting for the picture to generate so you guys are all looking at the same time that I am, because I'm running about 20 seconds ahead. This is Phyllis Diller with the XF-85, a Goblin.
Perfect.
Perfect. That hair wouldn't even fit in the canopy. God, I remember when I was a kid, she would come on the Dean Martin roast and everything. She was just hilarious. I didn't realize she was always talking about her husband, Fang. I thought she was making a joke. That really was his name.
Yep.
Judging the Mustang Roundup car show. Well, Trey, or Fran, where is this Mustang Roundup car show? Because I own a Mustang. Maybe I can make that just to go and see. You know, it's funny. I've loved Mustangs, always have. But as one of the universe's little jokes, I wasn't built for one. That is correct. Phyllis Diller. The notes received flat or B flat. Somebody said laid an eggplane. Now that's actually a real life eggplane. That is what that thing looked like. And for those of you, just for those who are not familiar, the XF-85 was a parasite fighter. It was supposed to go in the bomb bay of the B-36. It did not have any wheels because it had to hook back up with the aircraft. The idea was they needed fighter support for these long-range bombers. Of course, that airplane and its supplies would have eaten up half the bomb load. But that airplane had 30 minutes of flying time. And the idea was, is once I got in the target area and the bad guy showed up, you put the pilot in there, you launch him. He goes up, shooty, bang, bang at the bad guys. He's got 30 minutes, he comes back, hook back up, hoist him back in, gas him up, rearm him, and if necessary, out he goes again. It was a parasite fighter. They were only able to get about 3 successful hookups, even with test pilots flying it, and they were like, you know, interesting idea, guys, but it's not going to work. The airplane only accumulated a few hours of flying time before they said it. And one time the guy slammed into the trapeze, smashed the canopy. He had to land it, and he had to belly land it in the desert, which is why it has that weird bar on the front of it, on the belly, going from the intake down to the middle of the belly. It's a skid, basically. And interesting idea. And I love that they were willing to experiment back then. I mean, nothing was off limits. But yeah, that's a big negatory there, good buddy.
Garfield puts down Tony Fields with the Airbus Beluga.
I could do that. I could see that. So this next one was just something I came up with because I thought I was going to need more slides. Turns out I made more slides than I'm going to need. But and there's no affiliation between these two, but the fact that this Intech Spruce Goose or Hercules had Howard Hughes' picture on it, maybe decide they're of the same era, but to my knowledge, that's Mae West, for those who don't know. Who was, how can we describe Mae West? Today she would get canceled. She was making suggestions back when that was something you could not do. And although I don't think I don't know that she ever had anything to do with Hughes, but I just thought, given Hughes's nature, that those two kind of fit together. Although she's realistically, if you're going to do the Spruce Goose and Hughes, what was it? The one that was his big girlfriend, was it Ava Gardner? Or she's the one that turned him down, I think. I can't keep it straight anyway. But I just figured a big full-bodied girl with a big full-bodied plane.
Could have done Shelley Winters with that too.
I don't need to I don't need you see your face to know that is Miss. Yeah. Mansfield, that's a thought. Namesake of the life of the. Hey, that is true. For those who do not know, the yellow life jackets that aviators wore, and actually the airlines still have for the passengers, those were called Mae West because of the sensual and buxom Miss West, who was a force to be reckoned with. So, now, I don't think anybody personifies the 50s quite like Marilyn Monroe. And she went on a tour to Korea. There are a lot of pictures of her on the wing of an F-84, in the cockpit of an H-19. So I've got a few Marilyn pictures here. I think where the 1950s are concerned, would you agree that she's about as quintessential as, a 1950s, for lack of a better word, supermodel or actress or whatever goes? You know what I mean?
She was the girl.
And there were others that definitely, Mansfield and the rest of them that were all in that, but she was kind of one of a kind, Norma Jean.
They were all chasing her.
Yeah, she set the prototype. I mean, God knows how many women blonded their hair because of this woman. And she was a brunette, I think, naturally, wasn't she?
Yes, she was.
And don't even get started the whole Joe DiMaggio thing and the Kennedys and all that. Whoa, my God. You think she committed suicide or she got offed?
No. I think she knew too much and they thought she was going to talk because she was very unstable.
Yeah. Careful what you wish for, people. But I think if Airfix took their P80 and added a Marilyn Monroe figure to it, it would be a way for nominal cost to sell more models. I think of all the slides I've made, I think this one would have the best chance of actually boosting kit sales. And as we're going to see in the next few photos, there are a lot of models she could go with.
I think that she should be on the F-86.
I put someone else there, but I agree. But we'll get to that in just a little ways down the line. But there is definitely an argument to be made there. I picked the
a little
P80.
more sleek, a little more streamlined,
Yeah, I can see that. But let us continue. The next Marilyn idea I had was because she represented an era of glamour, so I decided to put some glamour pictures. Of course, you've got Pan Am and New York Airways helicopters, and I was able to find a color picture I thought went pretty well with them. And again, but one of the reasons that I actually put her on this particular one and another one you're going to see in a minute was because I actually found pictures of her not only in an Army H-19 posing for photos, which by the way is where I grabbed that image right there on the F-80 that I'm using, was from actually she's sitting in a helicopter cockpit. But I also have pictures of her getting out of a New York Airways H-19 as a passenger wearing a dress. So I thought, okay, well, this was the only New York Airways helicopter model I could find. So that's how I attached her with that, even though the turbines came in much later. But this one really captures the early 60s. Thank you. That was kind of what I was going for. Appreciate that. But another Marilyn one, this is, of course, the famous Revell F-102, and I figured this was her era, the 50s. And I just thought color artwork, color picture, the whole thing. And even though this one doesn't have all the equipment, because I couldn't use that one because it had the little boy, but this is the same basic model. And I figure both of these are, you might say, revealing a fair bit of what's inside. And I shall go no further with that. Anyway, none of these are by random.
You know what else you could have put her on?
What?
The 707.
We have someone else for that, and we're going to get there in a little bit.
No, I'm just saying.
But you're in the right ballpark. But Marilyn represented something sexy, like the sexy Delta jets.
Mm-hmm.
The person I picked for the 707, although I might have used a picture of the 720, was a little more known for actual glamour. But we'll get there in a bit.
Did Monica okay this list, or?
I'll find out when the show's over.
Okay.
Monica Bellucci. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But here is again. This is one of the pictures from her in the cockpit of the H-19. So I couldn't help but put her on the box art of the Revell H-19, even though.
What? Here's a quiz. What does Monica Bellucci have the distinction of being?
Okay, I'll play your silly game. What?
The oldest Bond girl.
Oh, really?
She was an inspector. Yeah.
Huh. Now you got me looking it up. Monica Bellucci, Spectre. Oop. Okay. Bond girl. Oh gosh, she must have been over 30. No, over at age 50. Wow, she was 50.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
And pretty good looking at 50, let me
Hey,
tell
some
you.
people age like fine wine. I'm aging like milk. Okay, this is actually my personal favorite, though. And I think it was Eric sent me this, the pictures of her. This is a modified, this is, excuse me, from Wolfpack. I modified their box art. And the reason I did that was that is a T6G or an LT6G. For those who don't know, even though T6s were primarily trainers, in the Korean War, they were used as forward air controllers. They did have guns and marking rockets, and they did see combat, and they did get shot up. Okay? That's why, excuse me, that's why I included that picture on the intro video of the one with the bullet with the shrapnel holes in it. These things were in combat. They are true warbirds. That is the patch, the mosquito patch. They were called mosquitoes. And that mosquito patch is the unit that is on her jacket. Now, this is a resin model of her that was beautifully painted by someone who clearly knew what they were doing and had more skills than me. But I thought the three of them went together. What I think the guys at Wolfpack ought to do is get some of those figures and include them with this box art, include them in the model. And I bet that would help boost sales a little bit. And of course, that was the kind of thing that you'd have to buy two, one to build and one to keep in the box. And you can see the rocket rails on there. It's already shot its rockets, marking rockets. And yes, they did have a backseater back there calling in stuff while the other guy focused on flying. But this is one of those unsung heroes. And Indy Nidell over at Time Ghost is doing his Korean War series, which I've been following diligently. I hope at some point he mentions these guys. But, I mean, in an era of MiGs and Sabres, guys are out there in what is essentially just a training airplane, getting shot at. You know, it just, these guys would set off a metal detector just walking through it butt naked. But perhaps I've said too much. You were talking about the F-86. For reasons that it just seemed right, because some of the movies I saw are in, I used Doris Day for the F-86.
No.
Fight me. No.
Doris Day's like the girl next door.
Well, that's why I picked her for the F-86. I mean, that's what John Glenn flew. He was the boy next door.
No.
All right, who should be on the F-86?
It should be Marilyn.
Okay. All right, fine. You know what? Here in real time, I am going to make a new slide. Okay,
I mean, it was sleek. It was sexy. It was fast. Yeah. Not Doris Day.
Okay. I'm going to scale mates for the...
Doris Day would be like on a DC-4.
Oh.
Reliable.
Ow, hurtful much. Okay, F-86 Sabre. Let's go down to scale mates. Let's pick one up that's an American markings from the Korean War. Japanese. Oh, that's about as all-American as you get. Okay. Let's go with the... No, that's an Italian. Yeah, what the heck? We'll use it. Nah, not Italian. It's got to be an American company. Let me get a monogram. Monogram. Wow, I'm getting dizzy watching this thing scroll so fast. Heller, Hobby Boss, Connect. Does it? Anybody in America still make models? That's the Gallo Monochrome. Never even heard of them. For God's sakes, where's Monogram? Jesus, everybody and their brother makes an F-86. Monogram Ludella. Monogram Pro Modeler. Let's look at that. Nah, that's a Sabre dog.
What about Revell?
You know what? You're right. Let's go with Revell. Come on already. You know what? Let's just go up here. But F-86 Revell. Why are you giving me an F-102? Scalemates has got some issues with its search engine. So, okay, no, that's not a good picture. That's not a good picture. That's a saber dog. That one's on the ground. I may have to go with the one that's on the ground. Good Lord, I am being very disappointed here. Okay, we're using Revell. It's on the ground. Copy image. Go to paint. Edit. Paste. I'm doing this for you guys, by the way. 300. Okay, let's move that over here.
John Ashley says Anne Francis from Forbidden Planet deserves a box top.
Well, I've used her on, I think, some other ones I did. Edit. Paste. Let's do that. Okay. Let's take that. Okay, you know what? Now, use Marilyn Monroe. Let's find an image here. It needs to be in color.
Slongo wants to know, I wonder if Sarah Jane likes this video.
I was actually wondering about that. Is any of this bothering you? Because, you know, I don't think this would put. I don't think this would put anybody off. Copy image. Edit. Paste. Good Lord, that's a big picture. Let's reduce that by 50%. Oh, good. Okay. Move that over here. This just might work. Slide that over there, line it all up. What?
This live stream has the potential to upset the moral fiber of YouTube. Not on a long shot.
Okay. I'm just going to call this Saber. Put it in box arts. Okay, guys, I'm about to give you one that I just generated in real time to keep you, the viewers, happy. Image. Okay, browse.
Lance Revell says, Barbara Streisand and the F-86D Saber Dog both have huge noses.
Actually, we're going to get to one like that. Okay, Steve, in about 20 seconds, you're going to see one I think that will make you happy. Mind you, I did this on the fly, so spare me. I should have gone monogram.
John Ashley, nobody cares about the kit right now. Yeah, that's fine. There you go.
All right, so we got Marilyn Monroe on the F-86. Now, and I did that in real time. Hope you liked it. So, now we're going to move over to the late 50s, to the era of Glamour. And I redid this one a couple of times, but I thought nothing spells glamour like, you know, old school actresses and Pan American. So, excuse me, water here. Problem with cough medicine, it dries your throat out. But this is, you can't really tell. I probably should have used a bigger picture, but that's Audrey Hepburn. And
okay.
So I thought that would, then that's a DC-8.
Frank Field says it looks like the attack of the 50-foot woman.
All I can say is that she must be confident because, anyway. So, now, but as much as I think Audrey Hepburn helps personify, you know, the whole Breakfast at Tiffany's thing, the glitz and glamour, I don't think anything or anyone spells Hollywood glamour like Liz Taylor. And, okay, I've really got to learn to time these things better because you and I are talking in real time with the delay. I'm trying to get it where it'll pop up on your screen, and by the time I say it, I was way off of that.
Oh,
Marilyn
Andy
and
Chandler had an
Stiletto.
interesting thing. Andy says Marilyn in the X3 Stiletto.
Yeah, I saw that. You'd have to find a picture of her in stiletto heels, but the thing is that you're trying when you sell a kit like today, when you sell, and like I say, back in the 50s, this probably wouldn't have done anything, but today, because you're selling the glamour of the era, it might help. You know, you include a figure of the actress with the model and everything, make it a 2 for 2 in 1, and because you're not just selling the kit, you're selling the what's the word I'm looking for, the aura, the romance of that era, which I know the 50s and 60s had plenty of problems, but they still had a certain elegance. That's what I'm looking for. They had an elegance that's missing from the day. I don't think anybody, I don't even know who the top actress in Hollywood is right now, but you're not going to tell me there's anyone in Hollywood today that sells elegance like Liz Taylor, Audrey Hepburn, you know, just what?
Esther Williams on a Sea Dart.
You know, you guys are welcome to make your own box arts and send them to me, and we'll stick them up on a regular.
JetBlue.
No, don't even go there.
Okay.
You know what? There are so many things so many thoughts that are whipping through my mind right now. I'm just gonna let it go.
Sarah Jane, just hold on. It will be coming.
But but no. These are ideas that would help sell models.
How about a Southwest 737 and Dale Evans?
Actually, isn't all bad. But since Southwest is available for cheap fares, I was thinking of Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh yeah, there you go. That would have been Ozark.
Yeah. Ozark Airlines is great. Yeah. Get a little model of their car to go with it. Another one that, of course, is military, but you know, Mach 2 and you know, Coke bottle waist and fast, and I figure, you know, if you're gonna go with supersonic, you know, wasp waisted and super fast, you kind of have to go with Jane Mansfield.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I rather like this one.
Yeah. It's good.
You know,
put down. What plane would Cass Elliot go with?
Cass Elliot would go good on the Hindenburg. Oh God, I did not just say that, did I? That was mean. I'm sorry. I take it back. I mean, I don't.
Mini Pearl and the Ford Tri-Motor.
That would work.
Yep.
I was wondering what to put with the Ford Tri. That's why I don't have one. I couldn't think of anything to put with it. Thought about Clara Bow. Mini Pearl would be perfect for that. I hope you guys come out here for a good time because
Sarah Jane says, luckily I build race cars and bikes, so ruining aircraft box art doesn't bother me.
Well, if you want to ruin a nice F1 car, put Brad Pitt on it. I saw the movie. I don't know anything about F1, and even I knew the movie was BS. I mean, I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, but I was like, part of me, Steve, wants to make you watch it just to see the agitation.
I could tell just from the coming attractions it sucked.
It was to F1 what Days of Thunder was to NASCAR. The part where Tom Cruise tells him, I don't know anything about cars. You know, I just was always able to drive. I'm like, that is not how that works.
Telling you, watch Grand Prix.
I've seen it, but I'll watch it again. Now, the F-106 Delta Dart is known as the Sexy Six. And there was only one person I ever had in mind to put with the Delta Dart. And the best part is, Revell made it in the Florida Air National Guard markings. This is a real modified box art. And I had to buy aftermarket decals because I could not find one of these. And, but that's the Sexy Six with Anne Margaret.
Margaret, ooh.
And I mean, come on, man. You know. I mean, it's Ann Margaret. What more do you need to say? You know, Coke bottle wasted, and
I can hear Viva Las Vegas singing in my head. Right now.
can't you though? And I understand that her and Elvis were actually really good friends, and I mean that literally just as friends. And there's one thing Elvis needed, it was some friends.
They were friends and then some, but
I don't know. Some people claim that it was always just a friendship. I don't know. Let me have my illusions. Now, the following one was recommended by a glue trooper. Might have been Eric, I'm not sure. But when you need something that can get down and fight in the street, you know, street fight, there ain't nothing that says I'm a bent-nosed brawler and I take no crap off anyone than Pam Grier. You know, what was that movie she made? Cleopatra Jones.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like, this is the only, I mean, this is, this was actually perfect. And this isn't the original photo that I have, but I changed it around to get a better picture. But, because, you know, the Phantom was a street brawler. And who better than Cleopatra Jones? Anne was hot in Cincinnati. Yeah, she was. Met a F-106 the other day. Pilot, Larry Elder retired from Eastern. Bruce Gordon is an retired F-106 pilot. He's a light colonel retired who has a YouTube channel. He tells a lot of stories about flying the F-106. For those of you aviation buffs, you'll probably enjoy it. I'm thinking of Ann Margaret and Tommy Rex Beans. Martha Ray and the Caproni Steepa.
Roy says we may have forgotten one. Joey Heatherton.
Oh, I'm sure we forgot a bunch of them. But when they recommended Pam Grier for the F4, I was like, that's perfect. Now, the next one, and I've never made any secret, I grew up in an era where the name Raquel Welch was synonymous with, like, you know, just the most beautiful, you know, sexiest, most beautiful woman in the world. I found a picture that, actually, this was sent to me. Eric may have sent this one to me too. And this one is another one that is just perfect. And that is the Tyrannosaurus Rex, or they call it the Tyrant King, with Raquel from, was it a million years BC or whatever it was? What was the name of it? Was it a billion years BC?
1 million years BC.
Yeah, I don't think people look like that a million years before BC, but anyway.
No.
But that, I guarantee you, in the 60s and today, that would sell.
Yep.
I stand by it. I'll die on that hill.
Yep. Gudakil's got one for you.
What's that?
MiG-21 with Jane Fonda.
It's coming. Don't get ahead of the class. Well, since he already ruined it, how far down is that one? That's actually a ways down in the trader section. I'm way ahead of you on that one.
Oh. Okay, we'll hang on for that.
Okay. And the other one that I would buy in a heart. First off, by the way, you guys know we're doing the Irwin Allen build now, so I hope you guys are building something from one of Irwin Allen's shows or movies. And I have most of Irwin Allen's stuff, but I don't have this one. And I think I was 6 years old when we saw The Fantastic Voyage at the Hilltop Drive-In Theater in Quincy, Florida. And I'm not 100% sure, but I believe watching that movie is when I was maybe 6, and that was when I understood the difference between boys and girls.
They had a hill in Quincy, Florida?
Yeah, it's all of about 50 feet tall. Hilltop, yeah. The city of the airport in Quincy's altitude is 220 feet above sea level, and it's one of the higher points. And a Hilltop Theater was probably 230 feet above sea level. But it was on top of a little hill, and we used to go there and watch. That's where I saw, what was that one with Stuart Whitman, where he's the hunter, and they go down in the plane, and they fly into the locust, the Sands of Kalahari or something like that. And and we saw this, and probably saw some other. But I'm in like 6, 7, 8 years old. The whole family's piled into the '57 Chevy Nomad wagon, you know, and I'm like, you know, with the speaker hanging on the window. Ah, God, you know, you just
Many
can't.
of those speakers never stayed in the drive-in.
And the thing was, is that I remember we had a procedure because remember there were still like 5 or 6 of us back then. I think Mom had still had one to go, but because there's 7 of us total. But they would, you know, we had to all go take a shower or take a bath and get all cleaned up and put us in our pajamas, and then piled us in the car, and we went and watched the movie in our pajamas in the car with the whole family. And I remember sitting in the middle seat, you know, leaning over the front seat watching the movie. And I remember seeing the Fantastic Voyage, and I was gobsmacked. I was like, this is so cool. I think the part I remember most are the little radars coming out beside the guy on the operating table. Mm-hmm. And anyway. Oh, man. I tell you what, Steve, I wouldn't have traded when we grew up for anything.
No. And see, I thought the best part of that movie was when all the antibodies got on her and they were pulling it off, but that's just me.
Yeah, I was 6.
Oh, okay. You were a little younger.
But even then, I was starting to notice the difference. Now, speaking of the mid-'60s movies and the one you wanted to cover, we put Tanya Mallet on. I moved her into the box art for the James Bond 007 car, the Aston Martin DB5. And I think that works out pretty well. That actually blends pretty well with the box art. If you were, you know, look, they already make the cars. They've already got the molds. All they have to do is make some molds for the characters. You know, use a scene from the movie and add it. Again, I think these things would actually help. And you know, people will buy it. You know, you're going to sell 50,000 right off the bat, because you've got people out there who have to have every version of a kit. And the fact that there was an episode of The Simpsons where Lisa goes to war with the woman who invented Malibu Stacy, which is their spoof off of Barbie dolls, because of the way it, the portrayal of women. And Lisa goes on one of her rants, and at the end they come up with a new Malibu Spacey, and all the fans dump Lisa to go get the new Malibu Spacey. He goes, it's just Malibu Spacey with a new hat, Malibu Stacy with a new hat. I'm like, doesn't matter. The company put it out. It's new. It's different. And you could take these old molds and put new life into them just by adding these, figurines of the character as a little modification of the box art. It ain't that hard. And I'm telling you, this stuff would sell because there are people that just, I've got to have that version. That was Tanya Mallet, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, this is the one that I got asked for by a couple of people. But one in particular said, I want the Black Arrows Hunter Jet. So there's Miss Peel, Diana Rigg. I originally had her behind the airplane, but it just didn't look that good. So I just went ahead and did it as an overlay. And it doesn't spoil the look of the plane. If you're buying a Hawker Hunter, you know what you're getting. And that one works pretty well, although you'd want a color picture. But you weren't the one that said that. And who was it? I forget who it was. Gosh. I had so many suggestions come in from people. And I tried to make all the suggestions, so they should all be here. But I think that actually looks pretty good. Although it should be an Airfix kit, but I couldn't find an Airfix Black Arrow kit. So now going back, this is where we're getting to the Bond girl section. Of course, we had Tanya Mallet and Diana Rigg. Now we have a Kiko Wakabayashi from with the Toyota 2000 GT. And
you
real
only live
quick,
twice.
Huh?
You only live twice.
You only live twice. Like I say,
Sluggo, there's something wrong with you.
What?
Sluggo says Mrs. Peel didn't do it for me.
And you said there's something. Well, I'll let you two guys duke that one out. By the way, today Kiko I just checked, she's 88 years old, and still looks very spry. But what I always loved about that movie as a kid, of course, like, oh, that's great, helicopter magnet. And I'm like, wait a minute. Who keeps a helicopter on station with a giant magnet in case you got to pick up the bad guys' cars? I mean, what exactly is the story behind this? But it's a Bond movie, it's fantasy, so you don't look at it too close. Real quick, Steve, you want to just cover the story behind the convertible 2000 GT?
Yes. Broccoli saw the original 2000 GT at the Tokyo Auto Show and thought it was a fantastic car, and pretty much the rest of the world hadn't seen it. So he wanted that to be in the movie, the next movie, which was You Only Live Twice. So they contracted with Toyota to use the car in the movie. And when Sean Connery showed up, he was too tall to sit in the car based on the roofline being so low. So they just took two cars and lopped the top off of them and made them into convertibles.
Cass Wayne says, Max, every major metropolitan police force has a helicopter with a giant magnet on standby. Well, I'm glad to know that. You know what? That's the Godzilla Alert standby helicopter. That's why it was so real.
Okay, anybody that had an hour, you win the pool.
Oh, yeah. Okay, an hour on the dot. Hey, even money, man. Okay. Now, this one is one of my personal favorite.
Wait. J.M. Chaldek says, come on, Max, the Japanese treat electromagnet-equipped helicopters like cameras. Everybody has one there.
There you go. All right. Now, the next one was perfect. And the reason this particular one holds such a soft spot in my heart is that the Aurora Piper Cherokee 180 is the only model I ever got in Fine Scale Modeler magazine. It's actually in the October edition from 22 or something, I think, or 20. And I still have one copy of that magazine. And I like, yeah, that's why I did the song with the help of the Dreamberry, the parody song, I'm in Fine Scale Modeler, because I'm like, okay, I can die a happy man now. And of course, they were flying Cherokees in Goldfinger. So Honor Blackman as Pussy Galore was just perfect for this. And I think it makes a rather good looking box art too. By the way, I know I've harped on this before, but just for the few who don't know, you will notice that unlike most Aurora box arts, this is actually a photograph of the real airplane. But it does not match the airplane that's in the box, because the airplane in the picture has the third window, the airplane in the box does not. The reason is, I want to say it was 64 that they came up with the idea and cut the molds, cut the patterns. But the project fizzled after they tried to have some molds cut in Portugal. The people didn't know what they were doing. They botched it. They sent back the patterns. They had 6 in the series. They dropped them. They said, never mind. But one of the project managers kept pushing it. 2 years later, he got the green light. But they were so quick to get the molds cut and the models made, they didn't have time to hire an artist to do an artwork. So they simply called Piper Aircraft and said, you got some pictures we could use. So they sent them promotional material, i.e. this photo. But in the intervening 2 years, Piper had changed the design on the airplane. So the Aztec, the Skymaster, the Cherokee, and the Jet Commander were all photographs that were sent as promotional paperwork from the companies. But in the case of the Cherokee, the design did not match what was actually in the box. Ta-da. You have been schooled. But anyway, now going to your favorite, one of your favorites, we also have the famous, I guess it would be a Roger Moore issue with Marilyn Monroe and the Jet Ranger helicopter. And I couldn't find where they actually made a model of that helicopter, which seems like a lost opportunity. So I found the closest looking thing I could to make a box art out of. But anyway, we have that one. And I threw this together in the last few minutes just before we started the show. So it's not very polished or anything. But you could have, what was her character's name? Do you remember?
Naomi.
Yeah. But, or you could also put her with the Lotus if you wanted to. The submarine Lotus.
Well, you put Barbara Bach with the Lotus.
Ah, of course. But somebody was asking earlier about Brigitte Bardot. There's no way we were going to not have Brigitte Bardot. Although she probably should have come a little earlier because I guess this photo was taken in the late 50s or 60s. And yes, she just passed away recently at, I think, her late 80s or something. But another one of those, as I recall, and I'm sure memory fails me, but when I was a kid, the two names that you used if you wanted to talk about a woman being beautiful were either, normally it's some sort of insult like you ain't no Brigitte Bardot or you ain't no Raquel Welch. That, as I recall, was the way we said it back then. But I figure she has to go with a Heller kit of a French airplane. So, I mean, Brigitte Bardot. I mean, you don't get a lot more French than that. But I think that actually makes a pretty nice looking box art too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually real happy with the way some of these came out. I was like, hey, this is, so make the Intendard and put her character with it or something. Although I'm sure she'd probably not have been thrilled to be on a box of military equipment because she was not. You might be better off putting her with a car, with a race car or something,
or a dog,
or a sports car. And find a sports car that's actually a dog, and there you go. But anyway, so moving on. You guys have seen this one. I did this a while back. Of course, can have the Linda Miller Lieutenant Watson with Mechanicong. I would buy that in a heartbeat. Mechanicong. And but I'm waiting for the picture to update here. Over here it would be Raquel Welch. Oh, I did not know that. Okay, Sarah Jane. See, I learned. I didn't know that. Bardot was epitome of word hurt. I don't quite get that. Nothing found. Let's see. I haven't done it yet, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and shoot a Facebook message over to Linda Miller, see if she'd like to come on the live stream. She's been on a few of them before, and what are the odds? Of course, I realized she was an American living in Japan, so, but what are the odds that she would be in two of my favorite, sci-fi movies that era, King Kong Escapes and The Green Slime, even though she just had she was there for a day or two on set. Her and her friend just wandered down there. Oh yeah, we can cast you here, do this. Oh, okay. That's just so cool, And she's 78 now. She just had her 78th birthday recently, and she lives, I think, up in Virginia. So she responded to a comment I'd left. So I figured, shoot, worst thing she can do is say, no, I can't do it. She still posts stuff on YouTube from time to time or on Facebook. So if you guys are King Kong Escapes fans, you can go look up Linda Miller, and she's out there. And she did some TV shows and stuff like that. I mean, she has actually quite a few acting credits, but boy, her commentary, she made an interesting commentary on working in the movies in Japan versus working in television and studios in America. They are very different worlds. And apparently she was treated really nice by the Japanese, but apparently that did not happen when she came to Hollywood. What was it, Trey's mouth? Okay, you're going to know who this is. One of my favorite Italian actresses, and who's been in a couple of my favorite a couple of my favorite movies. And doesn't get a lot of, not a household name here in America by any means. Probably because her name can be a little hard to pronounce, but come on, she was in The Green Slime and James Bond. What more can you want?
Ooh, I know who you got.
Okay, say it.
Luciana Paluzzi.
Luciana Paluzzi. And I found a picture of her, which I guess was taken for a Bond flick on a motorcycle, like it's supposed to have rocket launchers or something under the cannons or something. And so I went ahead and put that with another Aston Martin super spy car because somebody didn't want to pay the royalties to say James Bond. But it'll be up here in a little bit. But she's also, I think she's 82 now. And it's like, make that a little bigger.
Yep.
And it's funny. These were that was the hot motorcycle back in the day. Today we look at it like Snicker. I don't know if it's a Moto Guzzi or what, but anyway, again, easy opportunity to enhance your box art, enhance your sales. You got a Martin, you got a DB4, DB5. Come on, man. Just add a character to it, and the guys will flock to it to buy it. I didn't have time to do this one properly, but I thought Nichelle Nichols as Uhura was perfect to go with the stealth fighter, the F-117 Nighthawk. And, because the Nighthawk, on top of everything else, it was a futuristic airplane. So use an actress, plays a character from the future. And I thought those two went pretty good together. Now, somebody had said something about big noses. And I just recently built that Lindbergh, a very inaccurate MiG-19, which, well, I'm sorry, it was the Russian copy of the Lindbergh kit. And I just felt that, okay, the things that, and people were talking about Barbra Streisand, which could have worked for this, but
Sandra Bernhard.
Sandra Bernhard, I thought was just as good. Somehow there's just something about that worked perfectly.
Yeah.
But, now, Twiggy, you remember the actress Twiggy, the little skinny thing? When I brought up I was looking for a pic. I was looking at YouTube. And I go, what can I go with? And I thought, what could be better than a spindly, actress, long and skinny actress, to be the U2, which is a long and skinny airplane. And there were a couple of pictures that worked, but this one was the one that I went with, and I was like, yeah, no relationship between the two except they were popular at the same time, and this one's actually in Chinese markings, nationalist Chinese markings. But I just thought, yeah, if anybody personifies the U2, it's got to be Twiggy. Now, the next one was one that was recommended by a glue trooper, and by the way, Catwoman will show up twice because apparently she's got a bigger fan base than Batman does. But somebody was like, you got to do Eartha Kitt as Catwoman with the SR-71. So, I scrolled the pictures and I was like, yep, okay, got something like it worked. And I got to admit, they work together pretty well. If I was an SR-71 pilot and they let you name the plane, that would be the perfect name for it. Call me Catwoman. Call the airplane Catwoman. But not to be outdone, there were also... Now, by the way, these were submissions by glue troopers. One wanted Catwoman Eartha Kitt, SR-71. The other specifically wanted a black F5 with Julie Newmar Catwoman. And I found that AFV made the Top Gun MiG-28. Well, of course, the fictitious airplane is just an F5, but so I was like, okay, that works, And it actually goes together pretty well. I'm not disappointed with it. I got to give you guys credit. You got a good eye for this stuff. And I don't see any tie-in between the two. I don't know how one would help sell it, but what the heck, it just looks cool.
Could have also done Scarlett Johansson on any of these two.
She's coming. She's down. That's coming. Don't worry. Hers is perfect. We'll get to why in a bit. But of course, everybody, you guys had asked about Hanoi Jane, or excuse me, Jane Fonda and the MiG 21, and this is one of the first slides that I put together, and of course that's the famous photo with a North Vietnamese MiG 21. It's just, that's another one that just wrote itself. That was the easiest one to put together. And enough said about that. Now, they did bring up a question, though. You know, we've been going with the beauty queens. What about the not so beautiful women? And I thought, what on earth could we put Rosie O'Donnell with? And I was afraid that no matter what I put Rosie with, someone was going to get bent out of shape. How dare you call my plane or my car or my tank, you know? And I thought about using her for a tank, but then I found what I thought was a much, much more befitting image, and that was the Aurora Witch.
We'll go with that.
That's another one that actually kind of wrote itself there once I stopped and thought about it for a second. Everybody's jumping ahead. Okay, guys, since everybody keeps mentioning it, I'm just going to go ahead and go to ScarJo. Yes, Scarlett Johansson got the Black Widow, the YF-23, which was called the Black Widow. That's another one that just wrote itself. But that could actually be used as, not that any kit model company could afford Scarlett Johansson's likeness nor the Avengers license, but if you could, that one just writes itself.
Eric says Rosie should have been the hunchback model from Aurora.
Ooh, I didn't think about that. That wouldn't have been bad. Yeah, I think the witch is a little more apropos, but
Speaking for the Witches Union, they object to Rosie on their model kit.
I was afraid. I knew that was coming. But another one that was recommended, but other people had mentioned it, which this one is another one of those that is just perfect. It's the bicentennial red, white, and blue F-15 Eagle with Linda Carter as in her Wonder Woman costume. And that was sent to me by, I know at least, but I think maybe more than one person. No, I think only one person submitted it. But that was, again, one of the easiest ones to do. It just wrote itself. And I could, throw the Wonder Woman figure in there, and somebody else. Some of these things, I really actually think if you get the rights and did the marketing, it couldn't hurt sales. And people, like I say, people will buy it just because it's new and different. That's guaranteed 5,000 kits right there. You've already got the molds.
If we had to rank these, I think this would be number one.
Maybe, very well, maybe. Now I built this kit as a kid twice, I think. Never really did it justice. But somebody had requested Farrah Fawcett with an F-16. And I figured, well, about the time she was big was when the F-16 was still in testing. So I went with the prototype look, which even kind of matched her bathing suit a little bit. And I'm not sure, but I think we had that. I think my brother and I had that poster along with the Lonnie Anderson poster in our bedroom. I'm not sure, but I think we did. I know we had the Lonnie Anderson poster, but that again actually fit pretty well. And no, we're coming down to just one left. Oh my gosh, we actually got through them all. I didn't think we would. The last one, and there was a debate on which airplane to use. Oh, yeah, there we go. The last one, we needed something modern for the new set because all this kind of harked back, and the only real actress of notoriety that's getting a lot of you call it flack or whatever you want for the way she looks is the actress Sydney Sweeney. She's kind of become There was I went with the F-22. That was what was suggested. And Linda Carter Invisible P-51. Yeah, that's just a picture of Linda Carter. Was the we went with the F-22. It was a debate whether to do that or the F-35. F-35 might have been more apropos. I was just out at the airport today, saw an F-35 doing touch and goes. Yeah, she has good genes. But it was requested we put her with the F-22, so I did, but that's the only modern one. And I realize all this is just kind of an exercise in kicks and giggles. And I put a surprising amount of work in all this because I'd done these slides about 3 times because I kept changing how I wanted to do them. And some of them, there's one that I missed. There's actually a couple in here that I missed. This was one, I guess British actress named Woods. This is a little on the mean side, but I just couldn't resist. She's a popular actress who apparently has buck teeth and leans into it. I mean, she's not going to straighten her teeth. She thinks it gives her a look. But I saw this old MiG-17 with the radar in the nose, and I thought her, I was like, I'm sorry, that one just kind of writes itself. But I don't want to be mean-spirited. There's a couple of them in here that I had done that I never got around to using. Oops. Close that. But let's see, what else have we hinged?
You didn't touch on the Concorde.
You know, it's just one of those things I didn't get around to. And
I met Joan Collins in the Concorde.
Oh, see, she would have gone, given the glamour aspect, she would have gone good with the Concorde. This is one that, okay. Here's one that, some of these I just didn't have a chance to add to the list. This was one that I'd done earlier that everybody got a tickle out of, and it pretty much explains itself. But even though the actress and the time don't really line up. But where was that other one that I missed a few of them. I just didn't, like I say, just didn't get around to. But Dolly Parton and Skyrocket was a natural fit, pardon the pun. And somebody had recommended they wanted Lucy Lawless with the F-105. So I had put something together, and somehow I managed to miss it when I. It's interesting. That's odd because I thought I had. Sometimes you just wind up with so many pictures that stuff just gets lost in the chatter. Let's see. Did I? Oh, there is one. How the heck did I miss that one? Here's one that I absolutely. What?
Sluggo says, Marky Post, hotter than a Laredo, Texas parking lot. And then Trey goes, Sluggo, I'd do her shadow on a gravel drive.
We're playing with children. Oh, here's one that I completely missed, and I actually put the slide together for it. And that was the Princess Leia in Jabba the Hutt's palace, his throne room. Somehow I completely missed this one. And I went to the trouble to make a proper slide for it. But I guarantee you that that would up the sales of Jabba the Hutt's throne room, which as a kit I understand they couldn't really give away. And gosh, what else did I forget to put in here that I made? That happens from time to time. I get so busy making all these slides and I just forget to put one of them in. That is infuriating. Alright, well. Okay, I think I got to them all now. Yeah, that looks like we got them all. And So what say you guys? Do you think that using an tie-in with an actress or something could help with the sales of kits? Disney does not allow her to be called Slave Leia anymore because, of course, they don't. Clark with an EF 2000, okay. Bell 2020. Gloria Estefan and a Bell 220. Hey, you see, you guys got all kinds of cool ideas. So
No CF 105?
What?
No CF 105?
Yeah. I didn't get to the C. Wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, right. Hold on. I know I did because it's right here. Pamela Anderson. Keep it Canadian. You know what? I forgot. I just walked right past that one. And there, I did have Carrie Fisher. There's Carrie Fisher, Pam. Oh, guys, I missed a whole batch. Somehow because this roll handle. Okay. With Linda Carter, Farrah. Julia Roberts. Good heavens, there's a batch of them right here. I was like, something's missing. There's a whole batch of them in here that I did that I missed. Okay, so the show is still on. Ha ha. Mm-hmm. Okay, I would fire the engineer, but I'm the engineer. All right, so here we have the Carrie Fisher one, and
looks like Julia Roberts in the X-32.
What? Come on, with that laugh and that big old intake, those two just went together. That was one of them that as soon as I saw that airplane, I went, I know who I want. I just got to find the right picture. That was as close as I could get, but it was still. I almost put her face right next to it, but I figured everybody would get the point. And then after her, we had the Carrie Fisher one, and then Pamela Anderson. I didn't realize she was Canadian until I started digging around. I put, hot Canadian actresses, and she was the first one to pop up. And of course, it's a hobbycraft.
James Dodson's got a good idea. Olivia Newton-John and Aquinas 707.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be great. And of course, I had this is one that the one with Xena I made. This came again from a glue trooper. They wanted to see Xena with the F-105, and I thought that's actually Lucy Lawless on an F-1. That's actually a pretty good match. And I'm still waiting for it to populate on my phone. I have this delays. There we go. I imagine you guys can see it now. Angelina Jolie, the P-40 Warhawk. Yeah, that would have been a good one. I gave her the A7 Corsair.
That's from Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I did an Angelina Jolie. Where is it? Did I not add it to this thing? Okay, let me go look for that. My God, my administrative skills are lacking. There it is. I didn't put it in there. Silly me. Okay, there is Angelina Jolie. And she is with the A7 Corsair 2. I tried to find a picture of her laughing with her mouth open, but she's savvy enough not to have any of those on the internet. But I figure the $1 million puffed up lips are close enough, But
Paul Adams says GB Racer and Jennifer Connelly from The Rocketeer.
Yeah. I don't think her in that airplane could look more different, but I can see that she was in the movie. Yeah, Jennifer Connelly. Okay. All right. Real-time build. Gonna do it again. That one. Why did I put YouTube? I don't want YouTube. I want Scalemates. Oops. GB.
But Wild Dad says, but she has to wear the costume from Sky Captain on the box.
I don't think she was in. I don't like that picture. Don't like that picture. Don't like that picture. Ah, this is better. Copy image. Edit. Paste. Okay. Connolly. Rocketeer. Images. Oh yeah. Okay, let's see. Trying to find a picture that looks. These are all like, you know. Well, you know what? I could put her and. That's they got somebody else standing in as. Ooh. Okay, that picture. Yeah, that picture might work. Yeah, I'm trying to look for long shots, you know, where you see the whole dress and everything, not these just, you know, elbow up shots and everything. Okay. Edit,
Right back.
paste, reset. Oh. Nope. Some of these things do not resize with the crap. Well, that did not work. Okay, let's try it this way. Okay, edit, paste. That's better. And crop. That and that. This is not going to be a great when I'm doing this in a query. But here's a quick and dirty. Say that's JPEG. Just make it JC, Jennifer Conway. Say plus image. Okay, browse. Open. Add. And there is Jennifer Connelly from The Rocketeer. Dun dun dun! Oops. And dare I say, not half bad for a rush job. That actually does go very well. Time to do it right with some better pictures. You can make a really nice box art with that. Although that's the wrong version of the GB, it just dawned on me. That's the GBR. This line is Z.
There we go. Eric Oleniak at USS Missouri.
Man, all these GBs are all the R models. Anybody can make a model of the... Oh well. No biggie though. That's the GB that everybody remembers because it set so many records. But there were all... Oh, there... Here we go. The GBZ. Copy image.
Yeah, Kudakilla makes a point. He says, age-wise, Shannon Tweed might be a better fit for the Arrow.
Really?
Okay, who did it better on the USS Missouri, Erica Winiak or Cher?
I will leave that up to you guys to fight over that one. I am not dying on that hill. Okay, here's a more proper GB coming up. Save as GBZ. Da 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 da. Plus. Image. All right. That's much more better and more correct airplane too. Oh. Yeah, it'll be about 20 seconds before you see it, I think, but that's more accurate to the Rocketeer. It's even the right color. Hey, we made a living with that plane. Maybe it's time you get a real job. He lays one on my kisser and you let him waltz. Yeah, maybe you had it coming. I mean, back then men were not afraid to be men. You know? Yeah. Your next digs is Alcatraz. You got to give them credit back then. They knew how to do slang. Hey, Wilma, your next digs is Alcatraz. What's that?
Melissa McCarthy on a flapjack.
Okay, so what aircraft should we assign to Roseanne?
Roseanne.
Yeah, The Rocketeer was great. I love that movie.
I met the PR officer who approved and coordinated the shared video shoot on the ship. Let's just say his next assignment involved flying rubber dog poop out of Hong Kong.
Well, I was actually told that when no, that was a different. That was the Village people were going to perform, and some admiral didn't want to perform, and Bob Hope picked up the phone and had the president on the phone, and that situation was reversed very quickly. But
says Super Guppy or
the
Flying
Super
Boxcar.
That's
for Melissa McCarthy. Oh, for Roseanne.
For Roseanne. Well, she's lost a bunch of weight too, though, so maybe a regular guppy. We also got okay. There's a Lucy Lawless, and the last one I had was Kate Beckinsale for the F-14 because I found this picture of her from Van Helsing, and her character dressed up for all practical purposes a little like a pirate. I thought that was perfect for a Navy fighter, you know, from that era, and so I put her with the Tomcat. But I guess you could do Jennifer Connelly with the no, she'd be with the F-18 because of the Top Gun Maverick movie. But well, that was all the pictures that I had, everything I put together. All right, wow, I can't believe we got through them all. And hold on, guys, the screen went blank here for a reason. Let me just we're back. And Max is on a watch list for all the girly photos. Yeah, you can get on a watch list for anything these days. Okay, Steve. I am going to hand control over to you for a minute. I have to take a short break. This will be a brief intermission. Let me just unpin me so you're big on the screen. And you have the con for a minute, number one.
Thank you, Captain. So now that we've gotten all of the females to airplanes topics done, have you guys been looking and seeing what's going to be released this year from the various model kit companies? And is there anything that you're really interested in? No? Or do we still want to talk about girls and boxes? Who needs a refill? Okay. Now the real show begins. Yeah, Roy, that's the best thing that's happened to me all day today. Well, the Atlantis release of the long rifle is out. It's being shipped. It's already out in the market. The best pick of the new releases, I would say there's going to be a 16th scale. There's going to be a 16th scale Don Perdome funny car coming from Atlantis, which is going to be really good. They're also going to bring back the Helios. Could it kill us? Salvino's talking about a new kit that's going to be mind-blowing. They've been working on that for a while. It's like an 8th scale Formula One car with photo etched parts, but they're having a hard time getting it to market because it's pretty complex. Well, Gavin, Salvino's does, I believe they did have a Superbird.
That's the guy re-released their 172nd F111. Border models, yeah, the 135th scale HE111. Where do you put something like these models? I mean, we're talking about 2-3 foot wingspans. I'm not going to get into it in great detail, but I found one of these websites where the super modelers, Key Models, and a couple others. First off, I want to thank the glue troopers who told me about the torque meters on the Sky Crane. Those bars are actually supposed to lean forward. And I went and it was right there in the reference photos. I didn't even notice them. But it's not in the instructions. It doesn't show you. But I went and saw some of these models of helicopter that are built by people who really know what they're doing. And the quality is just insane. It's museum quality. I am not worthy. And but that aside, a lot of people have commented that ICM kits often have a lot of these incredibly detailed parts, but sometimes fit's an issue. Turns out that despite all the detail in this helicopter, what it does not have is the electrical wiring harness, which is also exposed. There's a resin kit you can buy. And it's got all the plumbing, it's got all the hydraulic lines, but the electric cables are all over the place. And that helicopter was not designed for speed, so they just left them outside where you can see everything. Why not? And I'm like, if you really want to hyper detail the kit, you can. There are both some photo etch and resin stuff that increase the detail, but you really got to know what you're doing, because that stuff is, you're talking about long spindly cables that are 3D printed. So you got to get them off the safety harness, very carefully without breaking anything. To me, the most delicate part of the helicopter were the collectives. Both of them broke so easily just trying to get them off the sprue. So there's a point in time when I'm like, I honestly don't even know how the heck these guys are doing this without breaking something. I suppose you could go in some really thin wire and just make your own harness, but or brass or something. But jeez, man, that takes a level of skill and patience I just don't think I possess. Salvinos are doing the multimedia Lotus, and a funny car is in the works.
Mm-hmm. Large scale, too.
Well, Cricket just sent me those pictures. They'll be in the next Viewers Bill. She's a bunch of photos of that Agora kit she's working on. I know you said it's primarily assembly, but the detail level is insane. Steve, does Atlantis have the Steve Canyon figure mold? Heck, I probably
Now,
got
I'm
one
not
of
sure.
those.
They're still organizing the molds in one section in the warehouse that they got from all the other molders who they used. Um, because now they have their own molding machine, so they got all the molds in one place and they're organizing them. I'm not sure.
Somebody asked what was the Playboy helicopter in Apocalypse Now. I'm assuming it was a UH-1, but I don't remember. Cass Swain, I am not touching that one.
Hmm.
Everything was exposed on the Atari. Well, I've come to realize something, and now I'm inferring this. And Trey, you can, and Fran, you guys can pipe in on this. In fact, anybody who has experience with helicopters. The Tarhi, or the Sky Crane, was literally, I mean, its name is perfect. It was developed as a sky crane. It wasn't really intended to go where the shooting was at. It was designed to move heavy stuff, so speed wasn't an issue. Sikorsky knew when they were building it that it was going to need a ton of maintenance because all the stresses on the system. So they kept, I think they deliberately kept everything exposed so you could keep the thing running. And like you say, ease of maintenance. There was no reason to put it inside. The helicopter had a top speed of like 120 and it only cruised at about 80. The Chinook is a different animal. Although the modern Chinook can pick up as much as the old Sky Cranes, the old Chinooks couldn't. But the Chinook was intended to go into harm's way. It needed to go fast. It's way faster than the Sky Crane with a much longer range. That's one of the reasons the Army, after they retired the cranes, they kept the Chinook. The Sky Crane was essentially a single-purpose machine. Pick heavy stuff up, move it from point A to point B. That was it. The Chinook was designed to be able to do a lot of other missions as well. Troop carrier, as well as, in case of Guns a Go-Go, an attack helicopter, which it was not intended for. And it did a really good job at it, but it was just too expensive, and it was a bullet magnet. But in fact, I later learned that the Guns a Go-Go, for those who don't know, 4 of the Chinooks were modified as the AC-47. They were turned into gunships. They were armor plated, and a whole bunch of other mods were made. And unfortunately, it was just too expensive. But the mods were so extensive that when the helicopters were taken out of service, they could not be converted back to cargo model. So one had been shot down and crashed and lost, and the others were just turned into. Well, one had actually had a collision on the ground. It burned up. And then the others were just turned into maintenance trainers. But interesting concept, though. Got to give them credit. But the Sky Crane was always just a heavy lifter, nothing more. And although they did lose some of them, I think that was more due to either weather or engine mechanical issues. But keeping everything exposed like it was, I'm sure, had to facilitate maintenance. And I would assume that there was a lot of maintenance on something like that. When you get into that level of rotor, one thing about helicopters, they do not upscale very well. What works on a small helicopter is very likely not to work on something that's even 20 or 30% larger. And that's why you don't see the kind of rotor heads on big heavy lifters that you see on like a Hughes 500 or something. And I have a feeling that helicopters as we know them are probably going to undergo a pretty big design philosophy shift here in the future. These little electric drones, the quadcopters, have shown that they've got a lot of advantages, and that you may see that as the future in development. It's hard to say. But the Osprey, which is, I've got the Hobby Time tilt rotors right here that they played with back in the 40s and 50s. And the convertiplanes and everything, the idea of the tilting rotor has been around since the 30s. The Osprey is the only time I know of one that's actually been successfully fielded. And it's got a lot of advantages, but you pay for those, high maintenance, high operational cost. And also, what guys have told me is that since the blades are shorter, you get a really, really harsh rotor downwash from those things. So a lot worse than a regular helicopter. And they have a bigger footprint. than anything other than maybe a Chinook. Because those, don't forget, those rotors are way out there, so that increases the size of the LZ and everything. But put those things down, you're going 300 knots or whatever. So everything, what is it all saying? There's no answers, or there's no solutions, only trade-offs. And but you get down to some of these small helicopters. The simpler the helicopter, the unwritten rule is, the simpler the helicopter is, the the louder and the more expensive it is to fly. Like the little tip jet, ramjet helicopters we were talking about last week. Those things are super, super simple, but they're noisy as heck and they guzzle gas. Everything comes at a price. And but I think electric motors, the increase in the quality and capacity of larger electric motors that are getting lighter, you might see that in future rotor. I don't even want to say helicopters, I'll say rotorcraft, that you might see some kind of person carrying quadcopter. Well, if you ever saw the miniseries, the series Westworld, what was that on HBO Max or something? They got around in basically these Uber style quadcopters that basically look like just a big RC quadcopter. I'm like, why not? And who knows? But I mean, Sky Crane is that bird is it's made for a task and it does that task well. But Ericsson bought the rights to the thing so they could keep making them after Sikorsky put them out of production, and I'm sure they've upgraded them. I don't know how much a new one can lift. God, you realize that a new Chinook is like $80 million or $64 million? I looked it up recently. Now, I don't think the Army pays that for them because they buy them. They keep the production line running and buy them. But the latest version of the Chinook, if it's a civilian, if you just went up to Boeing and said, hey, I want to buy a Chinook, first off, they got to build it for you because they're virtually handmade. But I think it was $64 million. So that just gives you an idea how much vertical lift cost. Yeah, the V-22s are extremely loud. Does the Osprey do a better job than a Chinook? Highly confident it's worth the money. Okay, that is one of those questions that's really hard to answer. The Chinook does some things better than the Osprey. The Osprey does things better than the Chinook. For example, when it is in go mode, the Osprey is definitely faster. All right, it tells those things down. But the Chinook is a more capable heavy lifter, and the Osprey has more range. But then the Chinooks have aerial refueling. There are a lot of factors in play. The Marines wanted the Osprey because it met niche mission needs that the Marines have that the Army doesn't. And that's what people forget a lot of times, is that different services have different requirements. That's why the F-111 failed to be the universal fighter. The Navy, the Air Force, and the Marine Corps all had different needs in a fighter plane. Ironically, the F-4 Phantom wound up fitting all of them, but the Phantoms that the Navy, Marines, and Air Force had were also somewhat different airplanes, and they were all optimized. Navy had the heavy gears on them, and the Air Force had the guns on it. There were a lot of changes. So each service looks at its mission, and as an airplane geek, one of the problems I run into is I want to see stuff made and fielded because it's cool or developed. That isn't, the services aren't getting in this for romantic reasons or because the cool factor. They have a job they need done, and they need to buy hardware with the budget they've got to get that done. It's got to be something they can keep running. And a lot of people go, why didn't the Marines or the Navy ever put guns on their jets, on their Phantoms? And because in their mission profile, they didn't see that they needed it, and it wasn't something they were equipped to handle. Robin Olds, the famous ace from Vietnam, didn't want guns put on Phantoms in the Air Force. Not because he didn't think they were good. He'd shot down airplanes with guns in World War II. But he knew that the pilots were not trained to use guns. You go putting guns on with crews that aren't trained, it's just going to be dead weight. It gets complicated. It's like, why did all the missiles fail in Vietnam? Why do we have 6% and 9% success rate with missiles? And people go, well, it was because of this. You can't put your finger on any one thing. There were a litany of reasons why. The primitive nature of the avionics is one of them. The way they were maintained and mishandled in the field, the fact they were being left on the wings of the aircraft, not taken off in service after every flight, and there's the humidity of Vietnam, lots of reasons. We tend to think our missiles are great now. They had an F-15 out in the desert, 10, 15 years ago, had 3 missiles fall off the airplane without igniting. And that's relatively recently. They punched them off, they dropped, the lanyard didn't ignite it, and they just fell off. The guys had to run away. And it's even our modern hardware isn't 100% or even close to it. And the history is full of complicated pieces of equipment that got bad. The M16 is one of them. It had a horrible reputation its first couple of years in Army service. Now, it's one of the most reliable guns out there. Steve, here's one for you from Fran. Steve, my understanding is that the biggest issue with the 007 set with Gilbert chassis on the cars, when they switched to the Aurora O scale chassis, essentially a T-Jet, a lot of the issues went away.
Not really. They did. Most of them came with the Aurora O scale chassis. The issue was the wiring, and they just didn't work out of the box. And people weren't gonna, at the time, I mean, it was a pretty expensive item. We're talking 1965, it was $34.99. That was an expensive toy. But it was the wiring that was what really, was the problem.
Sarah Jane's talking about Cricket, who's working on that Agora kit. Steve, what Cricket has done is enough for me, although the Ferrari 512 would be nice.
Thing's huge. It's 1/8 scale, it's huge. I mean, the problem with an 8 scale kit is where do you put it?
Yeah. Yeah, even Cricket made that comment. When she saw I was building the Sky Crane, she was like, I have the same problem with these big cars. I don't know where I'm going to put them. The F-22s train with incredibly low PK probability of kill for their missile shots. It's funny you should mention that. I was having a chat with an F-14 pilot who was in my crash pad with me, and I asked him about the Phoenix and everything. He goes, and one thing you have to remember, the Sparrow and the Phoenix were really designed to shoot down bombers, not fighters. This is what people tend to lose track of. They weren't really intended as dogfight missiles. I remember having this chat recently with some F-18 pilots, but they couldn't understand why Cold War jets all went Mach 2.5. And but he told me point blank, he goes, if you're out at 80 miles and your backseater locks up the enemy bombers, launches the Phoenixes, they go, and you still got to wait for people to go, it's fire and forget. Not really. It's got to get close enough its own onboard radar can pick up the target, then you can scoot. He goes, and people also don't realize that when you shoot a lot of these missiles like the Phoenix, it doesn't shoot towards a target. It screams up for altitude. It goes up to like 70,000 feet and arcs over. But you get motor burnout in a few seconds. So it's even though it can hit Mach 3 point something, it's been flying mostly on inertia, and it slows down from that moment. That's one reason it goes high, is to get up in thin air where it can go faster further. But when it comes down and locks on a target, it's in coast mode. And, boom, it gets near it, explodes, and bye-bye enemy bomber. But if they know it's coming, they can get out of the way pretty easily. So your PK, your probability of kill, is directly proportional to whether or not they know it's coming. And now Sidewinder is, of course, a different story. That's goes right after the target. But love the M16 Expert, Yusuf, and Army Standards. Well, I'll tell you guys why the M16 is, to this day, and now I guess the M4 is still a controversial gun. Now, the first few years in service with Armalite and everything did not make them any friends. There were a lot of things that were done by the Army that were not making people happy. The wrong kind of powder, a lot of other stuff, no cleaning. There are a dozen history videos out there about that. Some people don't care for the caliber, especially since they changed the rounds. But it's had 60 years to get developed into a very reliable gun. But a lot of people just like a stouter caliber, and this is one of those things that'll be argued forever until we're using laser pistols. I was not a big fan of the M16 when I was in the Army, but I've got, no, never mind what I have. Point is that got that and M14, all the other stuff, and you know the M4, the 308's a lot more punch, but if you're in static defense, it's one thing. If you're going out of patrol, M16 ammo weighs literally almost exactly half as much as 308, so you can carry twice as much for the same weight. Weight matters when you're walking, so there are dozens of factors that come into play. But I remember the first time the Army handed me my first M16, I was like 6.5 pounds. Like, that's it? I'm going to go to war with this toy? Because I was used to big rifles with wooden stocks and everything. But that is a thing for another time. The Army also has a lot of worn out M16s. The ones I carried, I'd probably seen bush time in Vietnam. But it also depends on what the mission of the rifle is. If you're a security guard walking around for hours on end, yeah, it's okay. If you're moving through the bush, it's great. If you're on the open fields of Europe or out in the desert where you can see the enemy a kilometer away, yeah, you're going to want something more stout. Especially if you're in a mech unit where, hey, we're carrying all the stuff on the track. But if you're going to go on a 9-kilometer foot patrol in the bush, a nice handy little firearm is better. But again, this is one of those debates that will go on forever. Tell you this much: I wouldn't want to get hit by any of them.
Well, the clock on the wall.
Hit there! Wow.
Has brought us to the end of our fun for the evening.
Well, guys, let's see. All right. Well, that's it for this evening. What was your favorite slide? Which one of those box arts do you think would help sell models the most? I think most people like the Linda Carter F-15, but I think it's probably the best match.
I think that would win the award.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to run, and I will. Ken's at his couldn't be with us. He's at his daughter's birthday, so that's that. I will hopefully see everybody next week. I don't think anything else is going on around here. And Steve, any parting shots before we go?
Guys, thanks a lot. Glad you were able to participate and enjoyed what Max put together. I think it was a pretty good topic. See you guys next week, and you all have a safe week.
Guys, take care of yourselves as always. Model on.
regrette rien, ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien, non, je ne regrette rien, c'est payé. J'ai allumé le feu, mes chagrins, mes plaisirs. Je n'ai plus besoin de balayer les amours avec leur trémolo, balayer pour toujours. Je repars à zéro. Non, rien de rien. Regrette rien, ni le bien